Hey guys, good evening and welcome back to the channel United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Hope everyone is having a good Friday evening so far. Hope everyone's looking forward to the end of this week, and I hope everyone's looking forward to another brand new weekend in March 2023 this year. First of all, do me a massive favour for me, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. That is United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel and the community if you are new, and share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button, and remember to put the notification bell on also to receive dedicated content right throughout the rest of 2023 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube for more Fortnite content, Hogwarts Legacy, Kingdom Hearts 4, Formula 1 2023, FIFA 23 career mode, Manchester United and Salford City, more previews, more match reactions. So please subscribe to the channel and to the community if you're new. United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Thank you. And good evening to every single one of you, and welcome to the brand new series of The Preview. This is the preview for the FA Cup quarter-finals between Manchester United and Fulham Football Club at Trafford on Sunday evening in the quarter-final stages of the 2022-2023 Emirates FA Cup competition this season. It is a home evening kickoff for Manchester United. It is a 4:30 p.m. home evening kickoff live on the BBC One and BBC One HD channels. In a game which I think Manchester United now need, this is probably going to be their biggest test from midweek. After the successful period of Europa League football, after the last 16 stages with Man United now into the Europa League quarterfinals, we now move on to the FA Cup, which is probably going to be Manchester United's biggest test of this season so far. Fulham coming to Old Trafford to try and knock Manchester United out of the FA Cup. This is probably going to be the biggest test Erik ten Hag is set out this season to try and win another trophy as Manchester United manager at Manchester United Football Club. This is going to be a very big game for both sides and both teams. Fulham this season have done miraculous things. They have done remarkable things. They have done unbelievable things that no one expected Fulham to achieve in this Premier League season. No one expected Fulham to be in an FA Cup quarter-final. No one expected Fulham to be surviving in the Premier League. And no one expected Fulham to be competing for European football this season in the Premier League. But moving aside from the Premier League, this is Fulham's biggest game of their season. Can they come to Old Trafford and stun the mighty Red Devils, Manchester United? In my opinion, this game is a must win for Manchester United. We need to keep this unbeaten run going since the Liverpool demolition job. We need to beat Fulham. We need to win this game, and we need to get to another semi-final at Wembley in the FA Cup semi-finals. Manchester United know this is another trophy that they can win. You're going to have to hope results go our way this weekend, and you're going to have to hope Manchester United can put in a performance that they can be proud of watching us beat Fulham at Old Trafford. This is going to be a very big game because Marco Silva, the job he's done at Fulham is remarkable. The amount of unbelievable football and the goals and the competitiveness that Fulham have shown in the Premier League and other various competitions this season, it is second to none. Fulham have done the unthinkable. Fulham really have done the unremarkable thing of, we're not here to get beaten, we're not here to get demolished, and we're not here to get smashed. Fulham have come up to the Premier League and they've surprised every single one of us. They've even surprised me with some of the results that they have achieved this season. They have surprised me with the amount of stylish football they are playing under Marco Silva. They are showing what a Premier League club can be all about, and they can show to you that they're here to come to Old Trafford and they're here to come and get a result. Manchester United cannot afford to slip up this weekend. This is another winnable game if we can beat Fulham. This is a game Manchester United must win. We can't afford to rotate much. I think, in my opinion, we need to go full strength. Man United need to go with their best team, and hopefully Manchester United will find themselves in an FA Cup semi-final after this weekend. We simply need to go to Wembley and get another trophy lifted in the Man United players' arms and the manager's arms. We need to lift this FA Cup. We need to win another trophy. And hopefully by the end of the season, this is going to be a positive, remarkable season in season one under Erik ten Hag as manager. The more remarkable things he's even worked at Manchester United is second to none. And Fulham have done the same. They've come up to the Premier League and they're not scared anymore. They're a team that are going to keep getting mid-table football. And they're a team that could possibly even get into Europe. And it's remarkable that anyone could ever think that Fulham are going to be a very big test for Manchester United. I do feel like this is going to be a tough game because we only just scraped past West Ham in the fifth round of the FA Cup thanks to winning goals from Fred and Alejandro Garnacho. So This is going to be a very, very big test because of the respective opponents between West Ham and Fulham. West Ham and Fulham's seasons have been very, very different between both sides. West Ham have been in a relegation fight all season and could get relegated to the Championship this season. And Fulham have come up to the Premier League and basically are now competing to get European football next season in Fulham's first season back in the Premier League. And it's going to be a tough game because Fulham have got some very, very dangerous players. Remarkable form of Alexander Mitrovic, Tom Kearney, Daniel James, Solomon, Bobby Reid. I mean, the quality players that Fulham have got in that team are very, very dangerous on the attack. Mitrovic is Fulham's biggest aerial threat in the box, and he can score goals, he can take penalties, and he can be a fox in the box to get onto a header, a cross, and even a sneaky little goal to put Fulham in the lead. That is one big threat I think Manchester United are going to have to deal with. This is going to be a big test of Manchester United can go from Europa League to FA Cup in a week. This is a big test for these players on this side to see if these players have really changed. This is a test of capability, mentality, and stability that this club can keep performing the way we want us to perform. Man United are capable of winning the FA Cup. Of course they are. They've already won the Carabao Cup. They're in Europa League quarterfinals, and they've got a potential another Wembley date set for the semi-finals and the FA Cup final. But Manchester United are going to have to be on their game. I don't want no sloppiness, no tactical crap, and I want Man United to play well. I want a performance that we can be proud of. And I think if we play the way we did against Real Betis in the second half yesterday against Fulham, I think we'll see a repeat of another Manchester United victory. I can't see Fulham coming to Old Trafford and scaring us. I can't see Fulham coming to Old Trafford and getting an unlikely result. I think Manchester United will win this game. It's going to be a tough game because Fulham's season is on the line here. They're not going to get relegated. They're going to be in the Premier League next season. And Marco Silva is a manager who is up and coming and potentially can take his career up to the next level by going to a club like Tottenham in the future. But I think Fulham have come to Old Trafford and they know the fear factor isn't there anymore. They know the fear is also on Man United side. They know the capability this Manchester United side have got. They know the football and the style Erik ten Hag has got at Manchester United. And they also know what he has done to that team in one season. It's been remarkable. No one expected Man United to be in a situation where we're still in all three of the cup competitions and we're still fighting for top four and for the UEFA Champions League next season. So Man United are capable of taking this season up to a next level. This football club is capable of winning. This football club is capable of putting in a performance against Fulham that these fans, these supporters are going to be proud of. It's going to be a tough game. Fulham are going to be up for this. They know they can come to Old Trafford and get a result. They know Man United are going to be up for this. They know it's going to be backs against the wall sometimes in the first and the second half. Fulham know the test of attacking morale and defensive ability is going to be tested because Man United have got some serious threats on the left wing, on the right wing, and down the middle from Marcus Rashford. We've also got the quality of Fernandes and Sabitzer in the midfield, and they also know we've got the defensive giant in Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane, and we know we've got a goalkeeper who is our most successful goalkeeper of all time ever in David De Gea. It's going to be a good game. I think both sides will score, and I do think Man United, need to be able to deflect the attacking process of Fulham's ability to get the ball. We need to be able to control the ball. We need to control the game, and we need to take the game to Fulham. We need to start putting teams like Fulham away. For me, this is a one-season wonder for Fulham. Fulham are one of those football clubs. They're very, very, very like a yo-yo club. They're a bit of a roller coaster club. They're one of those clubs who really think they're going to be up in the Premier League long, and then they get relegated the season after. I don't think that of Fulham anymore. There's a lot of positives coming out of that football club, and Marco Silva, their manager, is a very good, very, very good upcoming manager. Obviously, didn't work miracles at Hull and Everton, respectively. But I think, in my opinion, Marco Silva knows that if you can get an early goal at Old Trafford, Man United know the fear factor is going to be thinking, shit, we're 1-0 down. We've then got to try and find a comeback to beat Fulham. I can't see Fulham coming to Old Trafford and winning, by the way. Fulham have not been at Old Trafford this season yet in the league and also in a cup competition. They know Man United's season is on the line here. They know that Manchester United need the result, they need the win, and they need to win another trophy. Another trophy is a second part of success under Erik ten Hag. This club knows that if you don't win the FA Cup, it's not going to be an end of the season success. Because if you only win the Carabao Cup, that's not really class of success. That's a Mickey Mouse trophy in a cup competition that in my opinion, no one really gives a shit about. So the FA Cup is a different kettle of fish compared to the Carabao Cup and Europa League. This is against an English club that have surprised us all. And I think Fulham, they have got threats when they deal in big situations. Obviously, I do think in the last few results, Fulham have been found out. I do like Fulham now have been on the slide a little bit, but they're still there and thereabouts that, if they get European football, that's nothing more than fantastic for Fulham in their first season back in the Premier League. But, I feel like the focus needs to be that Man United need to go full strength. I don't think Ten Hag is going to be able to rotate much. I don't think Erik Ten Hag should take many risks to avoid an upset in the FA Cup. We know the FA Cup can cause magic, and we know it can cause very shock results in the previous rounds of this season's cup in the FA Cup competition. But I don't feel like Man United can be able to take any much needed risks. And in my opinion, I think Man United have got no choice but to go full strength anyway. There's no way you can risk playing players like Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof, Luke Shaw, Diego Dalot, Alanga, Fred, McTominay, Weghorst at this part now. I think Man United now need to know that some of these players now need to start stepping up to the mark. This is an important part towards the end of the season in May. We've only got 2 months left of this football season. This season could make or break us this weekend. We go out the FA Cup, that's not good enough. You should be beating teams like Fulham. You shouldn't be losing to Fulham. You should be beating Fulham. Teams like this should not be come to Old Trafford and win. Man United know it will not be acceptable if we lose this game. They know the consequences if they go out the FA Cup. And I know Ten Hag, he's not going to take no excuses, no bullshit, no crap off these players. The excuses are going to stop. Erik Ten Hag knows that a performance is needed from the Europa League to the FA Cup this weekend. He knows the task that he needs to keep winning to keep his job. He knows he has to keep delivering what this football club needs. He knows that the pressure is there for Man United to lift another trophy. He's probably got it every day. And beating a team like Fulham is a step in a positive direction for this football club. This is a step in the right direction to win another trophy. This is a step towards Manchester United getting back to the glory days what once were under Sir Alex Ferguson. Erik Ten Hag has got the capability. If you win the treble this season and you beat Fulham in the weekend, this is a very, very good positive week for Manchester United because it looks like the club is going to be sold to the Qataris. So that's a massive, massive positive for this football club towards the end of the season. It looks like we're going to have new owners, and it looks like we're going to have a brand new complete squad for next season. Fingers crossed if the Qataris run this football club properly and the bid they put in successful, as well as they now want to overpay to buy the football club in the first place, which is a massive, massive positive sign in the right direction that it looks like the Glazer-nomics is going to stop. The Glazers will be gone and we'll have proper football people running this football club on a daily basis every single year. So this is going to be a very, very good week and a good test to see where this Man United team is at, because they know the pressure is that some of these players know their future's on the line now. And I feel like, the absences we've got in the squad at the moment is unbelievable. I mean, Christian Eriksen, obviously there was a positive update from Erik Ten Hag today to say, look, Christian Eriksen's going to be back soon. I feel like, in my opinion, we have deeply missed Christian Eriksen. I do feel like, the usage of Fred and McTominay has got to stop. I don't think Erik Ten Hag should be liability for that on his shoulders. I do feel like, in my opinion, Ten Hag shouldn't have to use those type of players in the first place because they're simply not up to the standard that I think this football club is wanting. And I do believe, in my opinion, that Manchester United now need to realise that there's a lot of dead wood here that have been given one too many opportunities to prove themselves. I wouldn't take any more risks at the end of the season. I feel like Man United need to realise now that if you keep using some of these fringe players, they will let you down. They will down tools and they'll underline yet another manager that has actually got some fucking ambition to get this club where it should be. Man United know that if you keep taking chances, it will backfire and it will bite Man United on the ass very, very hard, and the bite will be visible. So Man United know that Fulham have not got anything to lose. They know Fulham are going to come to Old Trafford and expect, we can get something from this. I do not want this going further than 90 minutes. I don't think Manchester United can really afford to go into extra time and then penalties. And I feel like, in my opinion, that we need to get the job done over 90 minutes. We need to start the game well. We need to put the press onto Fulham and we need to put their backs up against the walls and we need to close them down. We need to put in the tackles and we need to chase down the ball. We need to keep hold of the ball. We need to keep the possession. And Man United know that we have to keep attacking this Fulham team because defensively, they're probably the most vulnerable team in the Premier League. For me, they do concede a lot of goals, and they are reliant on a lot of their first team players to get them out of the trouble. So, it's a matter of, if Man United can take this game to Fulham, can Manchester United go the whole 90 minutes and win? Of course, Man United can win. It's just we've got a lot of players out at the moment that we could have done with at this important moment of the season. I mean, if Eriksen's back soon from injury, that's a massive sign of positivity. Donny van de Beek obviously ain't going to be available again for this weekend. So obviously, he's got a severe ACL injury, so he's out for the rest of the season. Anthony Martial was pictured back in training today. Does that mean he starts on Sunday? I don't think Erik ten Hag is going to risk him again. I do feel like, I think a lot of these players at the moment who are quite often injured are getting their egos protected. I do feel like some of these players have been protected because of their injury record. And I feel like the truth now needs to come out about some of these players, that you need to realise that if some of these players are injury prone, they shouldn't be at a football club like Man United if they can't keep themselves fit and healthy. They need to be setting the standard that if we want to play football and you want to be the first team, you really should be stepping up your injury recovery and really should be putting your test of your capability towards your mentality to get back in the first team. Do I think Martial is going to be involved at weekend? No, I don't think so. I don't think Martial will even be in the team. I feel like, yet again, Martial will be protected, and Erik ten Hag will probably have to come out with, he's not yet fit enough. He's only just come back to training. He's only started training back with the first team squad. We need to protect him. We need to put him back in the right moment. But the problem is with that, Erik ten Hag is having to basically back these players up because their egos are too bigger than the football club. And some of them now know that, this is a make or break season for Man United. If you fail to win the FA Cup and then you don't win the Europa League, I'm not classing this season as a success. One trophy in 6 years is simply not good enough. Man United should be competing on all fronts. We should be really winning Europa League with the teams left in it. And really, if Man City can go out to Burnley at the weekend and Vincent Kompany can go back to Man City and do an absolute shocking result and produce a stunning result from Burnley, then if we can beat Fulham, Grimsby beat Brighton in the FA Cup, and then Sheffield United or Blackburn get into the semi-finals, we've got a comfortable situation where we can basically guarantee that we're in that FA Cup final. But Man United have to get over the line first. They have to beat Fulham. They know that there is a positivity and a negative outcome from this result. If we go out, it's an embarrassment. If we go through, it's another sign of this football club will get back to where it should be. This football club is on the right path, and it does prove that, Erik ten Hag is getting things right. I just don't want Man United to be embarrassing. I want Man United really to put in a performance that we can put the ball in the net, we can start converting our chances that we had, and we can start scoring a few more goals than what we have at the moment, because we've basically had to rely on 1-2-0 wins at the moment. And I don't feel like, I feel like the goals have started to dry up again, and I feel like that is probably down to the midfield and probably the defence that Erik ten Hag has had to deploy in the last few games. And that's not Erik ten Hag's fault. He basically has to keep using players like Fred and McTominay. He has to keep using players like Harry Maguire and Diego Dalot, because he knows he hasn't got the options from the bench. He hasn't got the quality to be able to adapt his team, and basically knows he's lost his main midfield. He basically knows he hasn't got any attack, and basically knows that his best defence can't keep playing every game because Varane gets up a lot of injuries. Martinez is probably the best centre-back. And then basically you're then back to the Ralph Rangnick and Solskjaer days of having Maguire and Lindelof at centre-back. And for me, that's a worrying sign for this football club, that you're relying on players like that failed under Rangnick, failed under Solskjaer, cost both those managers their jobs. Both of them were at the football club, and then it all went tits up and pear-shaped. So I think ten Hag knows that. I think most of the team that played against Betis yesterday is probably going to have to start on Sunday. I wouldn't take any risks whatsoever playing the fringe players. I don't think you'd get the result. I don't think you'll get the impact that the manager's looking for. And if these fringe players were given the chance to play on Sunday and they lose the game, they are going to, us and pundits alike and the fan supporters will be onto them like Karash if they get themselves embarrassed. Man United know that their backs is up against the wall this weekend. They know that if you don't beat Fulham, it's just a step that some of these players' futures at this football club are now hanging in the balance severely. And I feel like we now need to start being ruthless with this squad. We need to start being ruthless with these players, and we need to start being ruthless with this team. There is no ego protection. There is no I'm the big I am. These players now need to know that your futures are on the line here. You players lose this game at the weekend, your futures are not here. You need to be sold in the summer. And I think a lot of them will be proof that some of these players will still be here next season, some of them won't. And I don't want the players who won't be here next season anywhere near that team for the rest of the season. I don't think Ten Hag, can afford to keep rotating this team as much as he has to. I don't feel like he can not play Fernandes and Sabitzer. I don't feel like he cannot not play Weghorst and Rashford and Sancho. I don't feel like he cannot play Wan-Bissaka and Martinez and De Gea, Malacia, because basically he knows that he's looking at that bench and he's looking at that squad, and he basically knows that he's basically stuck with Luke Shaw, Lindelof, Maguire, McTominay, Fred as the backups to mainly most of that first team, and basically knows that he's not going to risk playing Tom Heaton and Jack Butland in an FA Cup game. I can't believe that, we signed Jack Butland on a season-long loan from Crystal Palace and he's not seen any game time. Basically confirms to me that, this wasn't an Erik Ten Hag signing. This wasn't a manager signing. This was basically a board signing just to basically cover up their own bloody mess again, which was the January transfer window. And unfortunately, De Gea's having to play every game, which is not his fault. But I think you're starting to see that David De Gea is getting back to being the goalkeeper he once was. I think David De Gea is now showing why he's formed by keeping clean sheets. And he's Man United's most consistent goalkeeper of all time now. He's gone past Peter Schmeichel, and it makes De Gea probably the best ever goalkeeper this football club has probably ever seen in its lifetime. So he's not going to risk not playing De Gea. And Tom Heaton and I think Jack Butland have going to have to be told at the end of the season, both of your futures are up here. There is no chance that you're getting back in this team, and there's no chance you're ever going to get an appearance when you want one, because it's not going to be deserved. It's not going to be justified. And David De Gea, the clean sheet record he's on at the moment is very, very good. 2 clean sheets in the last 2 games. Obviously, we didn't win from both of those games. We only won 1 game in our last 2. So it shows that Man United now need to start stepping it up at the weekend. These players now need to prove themselves. Can they be the main article for the team when we've got absences in this game for the weekend? Obviously, the loss of Casemiro is a massive, massive blow. I felt like Casemiro is probably going to be named in the Premier League team this season. For me, he's probably the best CDM in the world at the moment, apart from Modric and Toni Kroos. And I feel like Casemiro, has probably been the best signing of the summer transfer window in 2022. I do feel like he's going to get player of the season, in my opinion, because the job he's done in that team is second to none. Pundits like saying Casemiro hasn't got the ability or the pay packet, and basically is only here for this next wage packet that he wanted. I completely disagree. I feel like some of those pundits like Graham Souness and Jamie Carragher need a massive, massive sit down for their big, massive, overrated ego statistic points and views that are not logical and not justified. I think Casemiro has sat down a lot of people this season for his quality that he has delivered on and off the pitch for this football club, and the amount of goals, the amount of assists, and the amount of consistent performances he has shown in that CDM position. Obviously, ain't going to be available for this weekend, unfortunately, due to the red card he picked up against Southampton, which was not a red card. He shouldn't have been sent off against Southampton. It wasn't a dangerous tackle. And I think VAR and the referees have cost Manchester United a world-class performer playing on Sunday evening against Fulham, because I think Casemiro would have started on Sunday against Fulham, and I feel like we would have got the result that we want. I'm just hoping that the midfielders that unfortunately we're going to have to see in McTominay and Fred are going to be able to step it up. Can they fill the void left by Casemiro in that midfield at the weekend? It's going to be time will tell that, are McTominay and Fred ever going to be able to get to the level Casemiro's got to? No, I don't feel like Fred and McTominay should even be in this team anyway. And I feel like, in my opinion, that, Casemiro is going to be such a huge miss in that midfield, because the midfield dominance is basically down to Casemiro's level and ability that he's got in his left and his right foot, and the ability he's got the way to control the midfield, break down the opposition's attacks, and be able to break Manchester United on the counter-attack. So it's unfortunate, Casemiro ain't going to be available for Sunday. And I'm dreading starting McTominay and Fred in that midfield. It just worries me that, we shouldn't have to use players like that for the backup for Casemiro. Man United really should have spent big, big money in January to prove a point that this football club can be sold to proper owners that can run this football club properly. I think the Glazers and the board have missed an absolute trick. They should have spent heavy in the January to prove that it would get the $6 billion they want to sell this football club. And I feel like it's a massive step in the wrong direction. The Glazers are basically down tools, shut up shop, and basically said to Ten Hag, well, you've got Casemiro, Eriksen and Donny van de Beek will be back soon. Well, Donny van de Beek's out injured for the rest of the season. Eriksen get back to at least mid-April, and you're basically then stuck with McFred. You're basically stuck with a McDonald's menu starter in the restaurant. So I don't know where Ten Hag's meant to get the midfield quality he wants, but I feel like, I think he'll probably start Fred over McTominay, because I don't feel like, Eric Ten Hag even rates Scott McTominay. All that hype of last season, the season before, saying Scott McTominay can become the next Roy Keane. He can be the midfield diamond that this club is looking for. He's a diamond in the rough. He can take his game up to the next level. I completely and utterly disagree again. I think all the hype and all the justification Scott McTominay gets in the Scottish national team as well as Manchester United, it's simply not good enough. Scott McTominay is never going to be the midfield we want. He's never going to be the midfield that this club will ever need. And I think he'll be one of the first players sold in the summer of 2023 for this in the summer transfer window of this year. And I feel like McTominay be told, look, you're not starting on Sunday. I rate Fred over you. I to a point, I do agree that I think Fred has been a lot better than McTominay season, because Fred has been in a lot more games and in a lot more appearances than McTominay. And I think, both of them as a whole, it simply did not work under Solskjaer and Rangnick, and it basically backfired right in front of their own eyes. So I would probably start Fred over McTominay. I know I don't want that to happen, but, Ten Hag's got no choice. You'll probably deploy Fred at CDM. Can he cut down the Fulham attack? Can he break down the Fulham style of play? And can he control the midfield void left by Casemiro at the weekend? That'll be a time to see if Fred can step up at the weekend. I think what really surprised me yesterday, how Sabitzer, who's been out injured for a few weeks, has gone straight back into that midfield yesterday when he came on in the second half against Betis. I thought the appearance cameo he made was absolutely fantastic. I think Marcel Sabitzer, I would start him on Sunday. I mean, I really, really rate him. I think he's been a very, very good signing since we signed him in January on loan from Bayern Munich. And I feel like he's added a diamond in the rough midfield. I do feel like, it's been a massive upgrade on Donny van der Beek. It's been a massive upgrade on Christian Eriksen. I think the cameo he made yesterday, he was unlucky not to score, but the way he was able to get the ball forward and pass the ball into the box to our strikers and to our wingers, it basically shows that Marcel Sabitzer is 10 times a midfielder that we've been crying out for since last season. I think, Solskjaer and Rangnick basically neglected that midfield, and it all just went horribly, horribly wrong. And you now look at the quality Sabitzer has brought into that team is second to none. That second half cameo was absolutely stunning. I felt like yesterday that I gave him one of my man of the match scores, because he simply does a job that none of our other midfielders can do. And I think he probably will start against Fulham. I think Ten Hag's got no choice, because I don't think he'll start Fred and McTominay in that midfield, because he basically knows that you're basically back to the midfield of last season, and look how that ended up. So I feel like, Ten Hag has got Fred and McTominay down to a T. He will probably start Sabitzer over McTominay, because Sabitzer's basically got the quality that this team's been missing. I can't believe the impact he's had on that midfield already. It shows that Sabitzer has got the quality to take his game up to the next level. You don't need Fred, you don't need McTominay, but you've got to have a midfield. Or will we deploy Jadon Sancho at the number 10 next to Fernandes and then play Fred? I mean, did Jadon Sancho have an impact against Betis yesterday? No, I felt like he was quite selfish with the ball. Even though he was offside, you had Elanga in a clear run of space. You should have put the ball to Elanga, and Elanga should have put the ball in the net. But luckily, Sancho had his blushes spared by it being offside. But has Jadon Sancho got a future now, and will he start on Sunday? Well, you haven't got no Anthony. Anthony is still going to be out through illness on Sunday, which is, again, another blow. It shows that a wing we pay £85 million for can't keep himself fit, can't keep himself healthy. And, that really does worry me long term, that we're relying on players that cannot keep themselves fit or healthy. And that for me is just a worrying sign that we've lost Anthony for these two games. So Anthony isn't going to be available for this weekend, which is another blow to Eric Ten Hag, that he's £85 million left-footed right winger dynamite in Anthony is not going to be available for Sunday. So that's another diamond in the rough out through illness and injury, which is a blow for the weekend. So what does Ten Hag do with that attacking three? I feel like Sancho didn't do much yesterday, but I would still bench Sancho, because we are going to need an option off the bench, because obviously Garnacho is going to be out for weeks with a really bad ankle injury that he suffered against Southampton in a home game last weekend. So Garnacho isn't going to be available, which is a blow as well. So I think Ten Hag, yet again, has got no choice but to go with Rashford, Weghorst. And I would start Palestra. I thought yesterday again, Palestra is showing the quality that he's got in him. I mean, I could not believe the chances he didn't get under Ralph Rangnick and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It basically showed the complete and utter naivety of both those Wallies, and they're basically Ollies at the wheel, basically running this football club like a double-decker bus straight into the back of a car. And it basically was making it a car crash scene every single game United were playing in. And I feel like Palestra has probably been, in my opinion, against Betis in the first leg of the last 16 Europa League was absolutely world class. The way he took on the three Real Betis players, put the ball in the box, McTominay's shot is saved, Weghorst puts the rebound in. And then against Betis again yesterday in the second leg of the Europa League last 16, he's basically showing that we haven't got that type of player except from Anthony. We don't have another right winger. And I think Palestri has got a very, very promising future here. I feel like Palestri has got something that this club has been crying out for. I feel like, that right wing position, he can make it his own. I would play Palestri on Sunday. I've been very, very impressed. And it feels like, this is a player that, has got the ability to be able to take the next step up at this football club. And I think Ten Hag is now starting to realise that, if Anthony's not available, you've got Palestri right there waiting to play. And I feel like Palestri will be deployed on the right wing again on Sunday because he was causing Betis so many problems yesterday. His speed and the agility he's got the ball is second to none. And that is something I feel like Man United have massively lacked this season, that we haven't had a player like Palestri in this team for years. And that's a breath of fresh air to see a player so hungry like that, delivering the type of performances he's got in him. And if Palestri starts on Sunday, I do expect him to cause Fulham a load of problems because the speed he's got and the way he can just run is, he's like Usain Bolt. He's absolutely quality. We haven't got that type of player in that team. And I would start him Sunday. I feel like he will cause that Fulham back four a load of problems. I wouldn't bench him because that's only going to dent his confidence and ability and his mentality from Sunday. Don't dent a player's confidence by not starting him because Palestri's got something in there. He's a diamond in the rough. He's just waiting to make that step up and make this career his own. If he can make it Manchester United, then he could be the next Ronaldo. He could be that next Carlos Tevez. He could be the next Messi. You never know. But Palestri's got it in him here, and I would start the fella. Don't bench him and dent his confidence because that's only going to destroy his mentality for the next game. Plus, when we're on a shitty international break for 2 weeks, which is a load of bollocks. So it makes no sense not to start him. And I would play him. I would deploy him on that right wing and start him against Fulham in the FA Cup on Sunday. I feel like the other front two is picking itself because I don't think Ten Hag will take risks on picking an injury-prone Martial. And I think Ten Hag's probably told Anthony Martial, you ain't got no future here. Weghorst is my option now. You're going to have to realise you're going to be stuck on the bench for most of the season when you actually decide to get yourself fit off the medical bench for once. And I feel like, if Martial ain't fit, Weghorst is going to unfortunately have to start again tomorrow. I mean, the chance he had against Betis yesterday, how the hell he's not put that in the net? I said this about Weghorst in January, and I'm still saying it now, that this has basically been such a pathetic sign that this club should have went nowhere near in the first place. And look how badly it's backfired. Look at the football and the skill this guy actually hasn't got. Weghorst has not got it in him to take his game to the next level. This career move in the first place, United should have never, ever happened. If Man United wouldn't have been so tight in the first place, like the owners and the board that they are, the tight-assed so-and-sos, we wouldn't be in this situation now relying on basically the BFG's best friend in the Iron Giant, because that is what I call Weghorst. He's basically the Iron Giant. He's got the height, he's got the ability to bring the ball down in front of the defensive back four of the opposition team and do absolutely nothing from there. And he should have scored yesterday. There was no excuse how he did not put that ball in the net. And it really infuriated me because I basically said this should have never happened. And you're going to have to start Rashford as well because, Rashford yet again, 27 goals this season basically shows that, he's been our best player by far. We've basically had to rely on Marcus Rashford for our goals all season. And we've basically had to rely on Rashford for every fucking game because we do not have the players and we do not have the options available to be able not to start him. I felt like yet again yesterday when Elanga was brought on, I do not want Anthony Elanga anywhere near this first team. He is never going to be good enough. But what hype and praise this kid gets. I mean, He's never going to be good enough. And people say, well, he deserves a chance. He needs to be in the first team. Elanga offers no confidence on and off the ball. He takes too many people on and then loses the ball and then loses possession. And then the opposition team just breaks on the attack and then we lose momentum. So don't play teacher's pet FC in Elanga on Sunday because he's just simply not to level. And apparently wanting to send him on loan next season. I wouldn't even send him on loan. I would actually sell him and bring some money in that he could actually get first team football somewhere else and actually play for a team that are only going to give him the opportunities, because at Man United, he's never going to get given the opportunity because he's never, ever been good enough. He's proved it under two managers that basically lost their jobs in Rannick and Solskjaer. Do not play Elanga because he ain't ever going to be good enough. He's absolutely trash. He offered nothing when he came on in the second half yesterday. And people say, well, you've got to keep the squad fresh. I completely still disagree. You do not use your fringe players in cup games like this, knowing Fulham could come to Old Trafford and cause a major shock. I wouldn't do it. I don't think Pep Guardiola would do it at Man City. He wouldn't rest Haaland and Alvarez. That is what I would do. You know, you're basically relying on that front three at the weekend, and you're hoping the midfield's going to step up. And I think if Rashford can bang in a few on Sunday, and I hope he doesn't bench Rashford because I think that's just going to really not go well. I would start Marcus Rashford. So we've discussed the midfield, we've discussed the attack, and now we move on to that back four. I would keep the same back four, but the only change I would make, I would get that bloody Frigid Maguire off that pitch, take that bloody captain's armband off him, and put it back on Bruno Fernandes. Varane needs to be back in that team. How he didn't start yesterday absolutely bewilders me. I know Varane is injury prone. I know he picks up injuries. I know he picks up knocks. And I know he gets injured a lot. But why would you bench your World Cup winning centre-back with another World Cup winning centre-back that's basically been our best combination all season, and you're benching it again? Why are we doing this to ourselves? It's like we're shooting ourselves in the foot here. You're basically knowing that as soon as Varane and Lindelof were brought on, Maguire and Lindelof were playing yesterday, it basically went back to the Solskjaer vibes. It went back to the Ragnick vibes that were basically relying on Magaluf again. And it's not right. You shouldn't be using players like that are never going to be good enough. If they can't take their next level up, then they shouldn't be at this football club. They really shouldn't still be in this team. They shouldn't even be given an appearance. I'm sorry. We have to start being ruthless with this team now. Varane and Martinez know their game for each other like the back of their head. They basically know what they can and cannot do together as a combination. They're our best centre-backs, in my opinion, since Nemanja Vidic and Rio Ferdinand. They've been our best centre-backs ever since those two retired. We've not had a stable centre-back partnership since the days of then. But we have now in Varane and Martinez, and I couldn't understand why you're basically splitting them up again. I don't understand why we took risk playing that bloody useless fridge at centre-back when he's apparently, I'm such a good captain, I'm such a good leader, and I'm a role model. No, you're not, Harry. I'm sorry. Harry Maguire should not be in this team. I'm sorry. He doesn't deserve a chance. And how he's been picked for England by Gareth Southgate as well. Let's not even get started on that bloody debacle. That's Gareth Southgate. He's basically only going to Solskjaer 2.0. Puts the trust in the wrong players, and then it all goes tits up. So it's no surprise that, Maguire is getting his ego bigger and bigger at this club because he thinks he's better than everyone else. But I would not risk him against Fulham, and don't play Lindelof either because it just shows that we've not changed. We've gone back to the old routines. We've gone back to the old crap of before. Don't play centre-backs that are going to cost us defensively. They showed yesterday Maguire had 3 separate different attacks from 3 different set of Real Betis players, and Maguire is nowhere near them and nearly cost us 3 goals. And you're telling me he deserves a chance in his team and he needs to, and Ten Hag needs to rotate the squad. Well, let Ten Hag rotate and let's see how badly it goes wrong, because I'm not pinpointing fingers at the manager. I still do think deep down that team selections and squad selection is being done for him. I really do think that. I'm never going to stop thinking that. I do really, really think that is still happening behind the scenes, that Ten Hag is being told what team he can and cannot pick, who's on the bench, who's in the starting 11. I still deep down think that's happening. I really do. I'm never going to stop thinking that. It's always a feeling I've had, deep down gut feeling, that Ten Hag has been deliberately told, you're not picking this player, you're not picking that player, You shouldn't be picking this player, shouldn't you? Well, I'm sorry, this is Ten Hag's team. This isn't the board's team. This isn't the owner's team. This is Erik Ten Hag, our manager's team. He picks a team. He picks a lineup. Let him do what he wants. This is his team. He's managing this club. No one else should be making the decisions for him. That's what should be happening. Ten Hag should be making the big calls and the big decisions. And if you're sticking with that back four, Malacia probably had his best ever game in a Man United shirt yesterday. He was probably the best left-back performance I've seen by far this season. Malacia really stepped up yesterday, and I was really, really impressed with his attitude, his charisma, and his possession with the ball. The amount of times he got in the box as well, and the amount of time he took players on, the little 2.3.0, 2-point turn moves that he made against half these better players, I felt like that was Malacia's best game. I felt like he really stepped up yesterday, and I would keep on using him now. You must realise that Luke Shaw, who can't even get an England squad because he's crap, can't even get the United squad now because he's finished. Malacia basically outplayed Luke Shaw for the last 5 seasons in one performance. That is what Malacia can offer. That is what you'd get if Malacia starts in that team. Consistency, energy, hunger, desire, and he's a younger age now. Luke Shaw is getting there when he hasn't got much years left in him. So I wouldn't change Malacia. I would start him again because this is what you paid 15 million for. He's starting to prove it now, and he proved it. Yes, I thought to myself, do you know what? He is actually starting to step up to the plate. Why hasn't he done that all season? It's because basically we've been sticking with Luke Shaw, and apparently that's been the right thing to do. You take Luke Shaw at that team, look what it did yesterday. Stability, charisma, passion, hunger, desire. That defence was a lot securer with Malacia at left back, and he showed it yesterday. And I think I would still then stick with Wan-Bissaka at right back. He's keeping Delo out this team, and rightfully so. Wan-Bissaka didn't have his best game yesterday. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I don't think it was one of his best performances that he's put in for this club. I'm still very, 50-50 with our right back situation. I don't think, in my opinion, Delo or Wan-Bissaka are ever going to be good enough. But, that is the problem I think we've got to deal with in the summer. I feel like we do need 2 world-class right backs. We don't need Wan-Bissaka. We don't need Diego Delo. I wouldn't give player even new contracts. I would sell both of them in a heartbeat. I would try and go and get world-class right backs like Denzel Dumfries. I would even try and go and get, right backs that are out there that can work at this club. I mean, if João Cancelo doesn't want to be at Man City forever, I would try and get Cancelo in as our main right back next season because you would actually have consistency with and without the ball. So that is what, I think Ten Hag will probably go with Wan-Bissaka over Delo because Delo simply can't do it. I've been saying that for weeks, and I've been saying that for nearly 2 or 3 years. Delo hasn't got the game in him to be able to do it at Man United. And I'm sorry, the truth hurts. And the truth may hurt, but it is the truth. It's the truth at the end of the day. This is Manchester United after all. You can't make decisions. I feel like we will win the game on Sunday. I think Fulham are going to be there for the taking. I feel like we will get through to the FA Cup semi-finals. I'm just hoping on miracles that Man City lose to Burnley, Grimsby Town of League 2 beat Brighton, and Blackburn beat Sheffield United. If the last 4 are Manchester United, Burnley, Blackburn and Grimsby, bring them on. Because I'm not scared of playing any of them. I would fancy Man United's chances now. Can we win the FA Cup? Yes, we can. I just want us to win at the weekend and get through to the semi-finals. Man City lose to Burnley and banter themselves. Grimsby of League 2 banter Brighton. And then hopefully Blackburn beat Sheffield United. But we can't keep relying on others. Man United must start producing week in, week out, and game out as well. That is my team for the weekend. De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Martinez and Malacia in the back 4. My midfield 3 would be Fred, Sabitzer and Fernandes. And then my front 3 would be Weghorst, Rashford and Pellistri. I would basically keep the same team from yesterday, but start Sabitzer for the suspension of Casemiro and put Varane back in that team for Maguire. That is what I would do with that team. Score prediction, I'm going to go 2 or 3-0 to Manchester United. It is going to be a tough game. Fulham are going to be confident that they can come to Old Trafford, win, get a result and cause an FA Cup upset. But I feel like the game will be told in the first and the second half. I feel like we'll go 2 or 3-0 up at half-time. Will we finish at the job at half-time and then rotate in the second half? And I'm sure. But I feel like Man United know that there's another trophy opportunity here. You get to the FA Cup final, you're proving that yourself that Man United are back. You're proving yourself that this team is starting to fight And it's now showing that this team under this manager will get things even more correct, and it's only going to get better. Let's hope Manchester United produce on the pitch at the weekend. Let's not hope this weekend is another 2 weekends in a row that's going to be a bad result. But I think we'll beat Fulham. I'm not scared of playing Fulham. I say bring them on. Let them bring Mitrovic and co. I think Man United will deal with that threat. So let's hope we win on the weekend, and hopefully Manchester United will be in the FA Cup semi-finals after they beat Fulham on Sunday. So I hope you enjoyed the preview. Remember to hit the like button, share button. Please subscribe to the channel and the community if you are new. Remember to share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button. Remember to always put the notification bell on all times to receive dedicated notifications of brand new content for the rest of 2023 for Fortnite, Hogwarts Legacy, Kingdom Hearts 4, FIFA 23 Career Mode with Man United, LAFC and Salford, Football Manager, previews, more match reactions. Go and check out my other socials. I'm now on Twitter. I am now on TikTok. United Red Devils 20 on both. So please go and check both of them out as well. And please give me a follow and then subscribe to this channel as well. Please join me for the reaction to Sunday's result. Hopefully, Man United win. Hopefully, we get through to the FA Cup semi-final. Hopefully, this is another step in the right direction towards another trophy. Can Man United win the FA Cup? Can we win the treble? Let's see what happens after Sunday for the reaction against Fulham. Speak to you guys soon. Enjoy the rest of your Friday afternoon, evening, whatever you're doing. Stay safe, be nice, be kind to each other. Speak to you guys soon. Thanks for watching.